Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for watching another episode of Interviews with Entrepreneurs in South Africa. Today, I'm very excited to introduce you to Trevor Waller, a very good friend of mine who I've known for some years. Trevor was there for me when I launched my first book, and I'm very excited today to be interviewing him on the day that he launches his book into the world. So, Trevor, if you will introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about your book.
Thanks, Mel. Thank you very much for the opportunity. It is exciting. Exciting in a Corona kind of way, because there's no launch and there's no party. But it's still a book, and it's in my name, and it's in the world. So the book is called 22 Lessons for Corona Time and After. And where the book comes from is that about 2 years ago, my niece finished matric and was leaving for Israel. And during the months leading up to her leaving, I decided to put together a book for her called 22 Lessons. 22 is my lucky number, and I'm very close to her, and we played with the 22 number for years. So I thought I'd just give her a little gift to take with us of all the things that we've spoken about and that I had taught her. So I gave her the book, and the book stayed in my folder called 22 Lessons. And it sat there for 2 years, and for all kinds of reasons, I never took it anywhere. We'll talk about that just now, but didn't take it anywhere. And then when lockdown was announced, and Brummer, the president, announced that we were having a 21-day lockdown, the number 21 came into my head. I thought 21, 22. I was like, I've got a lesson for every day. And so I decided to post a lesson every single day on Facebook. And the response was great. Started getting really nice feedback. And then a friend of mine said, Trevor, this is not Facebook stuff, this is blog stuff. So you need to blog it, which then prompted me to get my website together, which also had been lagging. And I had never done anything about that either, just had a domain name. And so he put the website together for me, and we turned the Facebook post into a blog. And then I started blogging as opposed to posting on Facebook. And the blog turned into a book. And that's really, it was a matter of, it was an issue of timing, really. And taking advantage of the opportunity, because what I had in lockdown was the ability to wake up every single morning and reflect on what was happening. And what I did was I took the original lesson from each book, modified it a bit, but then I added a Corona twist. Because there's no doubt in my mind that we need to find new ways of being, doing and having. How do you want to be? What do you want to have? What do you want to do? And we need to find new ways. And it's not that the lessons are kind of all new. A lot of them are things that I've learned, but some of them are mine. Some of them are things I've learned along the way. But I think the combination of the lessons kind of gives, hopefully, I saw this in Facebook, certainly gave people a way of being in the chaos, in the madness. I think there's some fundamental, for example, lesson one, let's talk about lesson one, which is the lesson that am famous for, which is TTP, trust the process. And what that means, and it's fundamental. It's people say trust the process of what, and it's trust the process of life. And I don't think we've ever, certainly in our generation, we've never been called on more to trust the process. We have to develop deep trust in ourselves, to handle whatever life throws at us. We have to believe that there's something bigger here going on, whether we can see it or not. If in fact we can't see it, there is something much bigger than our lives and our situations and our country. There's a big thing happening in the world. And so what do you want to do? Do you want to be scared of that? Do you want to fight that? Do you want to say, why is this happening? Do you want to say, not to me, no? Or do you actually want to trust it? Do you want to really dig deep? Trust that unfolding as it should. Incredibly difficult in a time like that. I've heard 2 people today that I know, have tested positive. So it's incredibly difficult. Trust the process. You need to trust the process even more now. than to go into some kind and fear. I mean, fear's the killer. You know, fear will kill us. You know, far quicker than Corona will kill us. And then you say, well, how can you not be scared? And I'll say, and my answer is, it's not that I'm not scared, it's that I'm not leaning into my fear. You know, if I have a choice of leaning into trust or leaning into fear, I will always choose to lean into trust. That's my default. You know, I'll acknowledge my fear, and I will see that that there's reasons to be scared. There are reasons to be scared. I mean, it's like, you know, for me, that we're in kind of sniper warfare here. You know,
Yes.
It's literally sniper warfare. So if there were snipers in the street and somebody said, I'm not scared, you'd say they're an idiot, right? So sure, I'm scared, right? Am I going to let my fear stop me? Am I going to let my fear bring me down? Am I going to tap into my fear? Am I going to focus on my fear? No, I'm going to focus on other things. So that's the beginning.
That's such a powerful message to start with.
Trust the process. Then lesson number 2, I won't go through all of them, but kind of the first 2 or 3 lessons I think are fundamental to our times. Lesson number 2 is Monday before Tuesday.
Okay.
Right. So once you decide you're going to trust the process, you then have to stay in the now. You know, one of the big cliches of our time, you know, Eckhart Tolle, the power of now, and I say cliche with respect, but it's become a bit of a cliche. You know, it's live in the now, live in the now, live in the now. But honestly, like, do I really know what's going to happen after this interview? I've got no clue. You know, do I know where the book's going to land? I've got no clue. You know, did I know that I would finally manage to publish today? And literally coincidentally, and we'll talk about coincidence as well. You know, because I think there's a lot of synchronicity happening at the moment for a lot of people. So we stay. So today's Tuesday, you know, and I'm going to stay in Tuesday. And I'm going to keep myself in Tuesday. When I find myself going into Wednesday, I pull myself back. You know, I say to people that I work with, there's an invisible string between you and the future. You just pull yourself back, you know, into Tuesday. You know, let's have this interview. And then we'll finish the interview and we'll switch off and I'll go to the next thing. And I'll go to the next thing. And I will handle Wednesday on Wednesday.
Yes.
You know, and right now, to believe or to pretend that you can make a plan even for the weekend, you know, is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Does it mean that we can't? And so does it mean we mustn't think about the future? Sure, we must think about the future. The secret is to have your eye on the future, right? But having your eye on the future is not the same as living in the future. Right. So if I now take myself to, oh my God, I've got COVID and I'm in hospital, and I'm on a ventilator. People are doing that, hey? That's not planning. That's not eye on the future. That's imagining the worst. What I do is I just bring myself back to now. I don't have COVID today, and my family doesn't have COVID today, and today I have money, and today I have a house. I have internet connection. Tomorrow is tomorrow. Deal with tomorrow.
I love that. I love that. I love your idea to not allow fear to own your mind in the now. It's beautiful.
Thank you. It's key. There's too much. I mean, there's too much fear mongering for a start.
Yes. Yes.
And yeah, as I say, I mean, it's not that I'm discounting the fact that there's of, you know, but you know, I have a very, very good friend, and she always says to me, live your reality. Okay. She says, live your reality, you know. So, you know, so then, you know, so, and that was before COVID, you know. She was like, well, you know, if people say, well, oh my God, it's the worst country in the world, and I'm like, well, I got a house, I got dogs, I got work, I got food. That's my reality. You know? Am I aware of the suffering around me? For sure. Am I doing something to alleviate that suffering as much as I possibly can? But what's my reality? Yes. Right now, my reality is not this terribly scary. The reality may be scary, but my reality, different reality. You know, and they're not the same.
Yes. I find it very interesting that you use that word fear mongering. So I run quite a big group on Facebook that's got a global membership. And we actually mindfully remove posts that we consider to be fearmongering. And it's very interesting that you also use the same word for that kind of behavior. Because it really does feel like there are a lot of people there that are stirring things up in a way that is really unnecessary and not constructive towards just living peaceful lives and finding solutions.
Yeah, look, I want to say something kind of off the bat, which is, so I work as a logotherapist, which as well, type of coaching and logotherapy for people. And when lockdown started, I didn't want to actually do any coaching. I didn't have a huge practice for all kinds of reasons. I was doing more writing, but I almost made a decision that I didn't want to work with people right at that moment in time. And the reason I didn't want to do it is because it dawned on me that I was going to have to work this thing out for myself. This is a different movie, and I thought thinking to myself, I don't know how I'm going to. Well, what's going on here?
Yes.
So before I go and work with people and coach them and give them therapy, I needed to work it out for myself. I've lost my train of thought there for a second. Okay, so that's so. What I wanted to say is my caveat is we're living in really, really difficult times where we all have to work it out for ourselves, right? We really, really have to work out a new way of being in this new reality. So all this information that's coming away, this kind of so much information, like the numbers, for example, like I don't want to know. I don't want to know. It's just information that I don't need. All it does is heighten fear and so there is something to be scared of. That's what I said earlier. There is something to be scared of. But do I need to tap into the newspapers and information, videos, and the kind of people are working it. Everybody's working it out. Nobody knows that much right now. So I think we need to be careful where we put our attention. That's the point. Is we really, really need to be careful about what we focus on. Focus, where you focus. They say when you're driving a car, if you're driving on the road and you look at the pole, you hit the pole. That's what happens. But so where you focus is where you're going to go. So do you want to focus there? And my reality is that Corona fast forwarded everything for me. I'd been delaying and procrastinating, and Corona got me Corona got me to get the book. That's the reality of the matter. So from that point of view, it's blessed me with the realization that time is finite.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Time is finite. And so I think we kidded ourselves before Corona, even though obviously people die, that it's not finite. We kid ourselves that we have enough time,
Yes.
And suddenly there's this thing, and this thing is possibly going to take us out. So time is not finite. So the delaying, the procrastinating, and if we start talking to entrepreneurs, as much as entrepreneurs are proactive and kind of, I know a lot of entrepreneurs, myself included, planning on a whole lot of things. And I just probably and that knowing giggle,
I'm holding the mirror.
No, exactly, and one of the things I talk about in the book, I don't remember right now which lesson it's under, but you have to press play. And the analogy I use is those old-fashioned video machines where you press pause and the whole thing would flicker. And I think a lot of us, in a lot of areas of our life, we've kind of been on pause, and now's the time for play. You've got to press play.
Mm.
You got to do the stuff. How long? You got to do the stuff that you wanted to do, that you've thought about doing, that you've delayed doing. Now's the time. There's no. If you don't do it now, that was my thing about the book. Is like, if I don't get a book out now, right? If this time, where the one commodity we'll have right now is time, right? Yes, because there's nowhere to go. There's so much time. Well, I have so much time. If I don't do it now, I never will.
Yes.
Bottom line. So there it is. It's out in the world, and a couple of people, whoever's life it touches, I'll be happy.
I'm sure it's going to add meaning to whoever's life it touches. I'm pretty certain. I've listened to your wisdom for a long time, and I know I learn every time I listen to you. Now, you've spoken about a new way of being. What do you think some of the hallmarks of that new way of being are going to be?
A lovely question. A new way of being. So, sure. Where to start on that one?
On Monday.
Yeah. On Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Well, I think that we. So first of all, gratitude and appreciation. Okay, like deep gratitude. So every day, every day that another little caveat. These are things that I think we should always have been doing, right? But we didn't, because we were so busy. We were so busy and like I think about the amount of times I went to. I live by myself, right? Like the amount of times I found a reason and to go to the shops and waste time, right? Okay. So, and kind of things we took for granted. So gratitude. Let me get back to my point. So first of all, every single day that each one of us is uninfected, right, and alive, and breathing, right, and our loved ones are alive and breathing, right, is an opportunity for gratitude. Okay. Right. You can't take anything for granted anymore. Right. What Corona has shown us is how much we took for granted. Okay. Right. That was the reason for the shops. It's like, oh, well, car, shop, money, like buy another thing I don't need, Not doing that anymore. I've realized how little I need, how little reason there is to go to the shop and waste money and waste time. And wasting is gratitude. Time, wasting money, wasting opportunity. So for me, I pray every morning, and I have for years. Both my prayers, and I talk about this book. Because grateful is one of the lessons. We have to wake up every single morning and say thank you. Before we say please. First we say thank you, and then we say please. We ask for what we want. That's the one thing. That's an incredible. I think that just the practice of gratitude. And that's not a new way of being, because people have prayed for years, but it's an important knowledge and to see. That's really, really key for me. The second one is a level of generosity. Again, we've lived in a country where people have suffered. Many people have suffered. The suffering is just more in our faces. And I think we have to help. I think people that have got anything to have to spread it. You got to spread it. It's just there's too much need, and what that taps into, and this is kind of one of the other lessons is lower your bucket.
Okay.
Lower your bucket. You remember? Lower your bucket is a very interesting story. It's a lovely story actually that I found on the net, and I'd love to acknowledge the person, but can't find her. She wrote a story called "Afloat in the Sea of Abundance." It tells the story of how in the 17th or 18th century, when the ships used to sail east west or west east, Geography is not my strong point. But anyway, they sailed that way. When they sailed, they would get stuck in the waters around the equator, and the waters around the equator are called the doldrums because there's no wind. Doldrums, which is where the expression comes from. The doldrums, no movement, and they would get stuck. And the story goes that they would start to run out of food, run out of water, start to die, and they would see a ship in the distance. They would say, "Water, water, send us water." And a voice would come back saying, "Lower your bucket." Okay. What they didn't know is that the water around the equator. Did I say Amazon earlier? Did I say equator?
Equator.
Anyway, doesn't matter. Yeah, good. The water around the equator, the offshoot from the Amazon is so strong that it fits into there, and you can actually drink the water, and they never tried.
Wow.
Right? They never lowered the buckets. Their belief was so strong. Their belief overcame reality.
Yes.
So we're talking to entrepreneurs here. We have to lower our buckets. Okay.
Yes.
And we have to lower our buckets, and we have to make sure, we have to kind of examine those beliefs. We have to say, are those beliefs true? Are they real? Are they just keeping us stuck? Do they actually have no basis in reality?
Yes.
It's me lowering my bucket.
Yes.
And it's not because I'm doing it for money. It's because one of the other things we have to do in Corona time is we have to make ourselves visible, right? Because all the networking opportunities have gone. So they haven't gone. They've become virtual. But the reality of the matter is, for you and I who work from home, right? If we don't let people know that we exist, they won't know. They'll forget about us. It's not going to bump anybody. There's no bumping people anymore.
Yes.
So if you so lowering your bucket is not just about lowering your bucket. Is about making sure that you're out there and people know who you are and that you exist. And thank God we live in the 21st century where we can do that.
Yes.
We can kind of, and so the big way of being for me now is lowering your bucket. And lowering your bucket means making sure that you're out there, making sure that you are not depending on one thing for a source of income. That's huge. Okay?
Yes.
You need to lower your bucket in various places and in different waters.
Yes.
Incredibly important. And I think that entrepreneurs are the lucky ones right now. Okay, because the uncertainty that the formally employed or the partially employed right now, because the uncertainty that they're now living with, we've been living with for years. Mm-hmm. You've been living with it for 3 times the amount of time I've been living with it. I've been living it for 4 years. Right? You've been doing it for 20, like for however many years. The fact that you look so wonderful is just testimony to it. But that uncertainty, right, that everybody's living with now, we're used to.
Yes.
You haven't had a steady income in 20 years.
I
mean, when I say steady, so in a way, entrepreneurship has prepared us for this.
Yes.
Because we didn't have salaries taken away from us or cut in half.
Yes.
Yes. And my truth is, I'd rather start with 0 at the beginning of the month and build to 30, 40, 50. Right? And the illusion that somebody else is going to give me 40, right? So the phone call comes and he says, well, we're halving your salary. Now I've got 20. No means to make the difference between 20 and 40 because I'm waiting for somebody else to give me the money. So we have to all be entrepreneurial here. If you're waiting for UIF or the retrenchment package or the boss to come back, if you're waiting, you're in trouble. And so people must do things. One of my friends from Race Corp, a mentor, he's baking bread.
Yes.
He's a finance guy. Yeah. Right? He's a bookkeeper, right?
Yes.
He's baking bread and he's getting his bread out there.
Yes.
The way to do it.
Yes. Yes.
That's for me the big new way of being is to lower your bucket and lower it in plenty places.
Yes. I love what you've just said, because so many times during lockdown I've thought exactly the same thing, that I'm so happy that I'm self-employed and that I'm not sitting waiting for some boss or some system outside of my control to tell me when and how I can earn money again.
Yeah.
You know, at least I'm able to go out there and invent something new, try something that I haven't tried before. And it's all exciting to me because I don't know what the outcome's going to be, but at least
Yes.
I can try something that is aligned with who I am instead of just waiting for somebody else to tell me how it's going to be.
100%. Well, lesson number 3, funny you should mention it, is don't be attached to the outcome.
Yes. That's a big one.
It's the biggest one. It's the biggest. It's very big. It's very big. So the evolution of the book is a great example of that, right? So when on day one I decided to put my first lesson onto Facebook as a post, there was a little voice in my head, right, that said, this could go somewhere, right? But it was a little voice, okay, and I didn't attach to it. Okay, I didn't have an intention. I didn't set out on day one to get to a point 3 or 4 months later where there would be a book, right? But I'm strategic. And I'm entrepreneurial, so I can dream, right? But I don't attach. Okay, right. And that's very, very important. So this book, there's no attachment. You know, if the 50 or 60 or 70 people that know and love me on Facebook are the ones who read this book or the book, great. Okay, and if some budding, I don't know, book publisher in America sees the post, great. You know, and anywhere between those two extremes, all good. Like, I'm not attached to the outcome, you know. Like, my next project is cards. So I'm going to create 24 cards, 22 lessons.
Okay.
You know. So I have a friend, a wonderful friend, who's a designer, and he's looking for work and looking for something to do. And so we had a chat, and he's doing it for me. And we're going to work out a deal, and then there'll be the cards. You know. I'm not sitting on today and like phoning, like, where my cards, where my cards, where my cards, I want my cards, I want my cards. I'm not. Like, the cards will come when they come, like the book came when it came, you know. And then my big dream is an online course, you know, of the book.
Okay.
Am I attached to it? No. Will I take steps towards it? For sure. Do I have a deadline? No.
Yes.
I have an expectation of how it's going to look? No. I'm completely not attached to the outcome.
Yes.
Anything.
Yes.
And that, let me tell you, it's very important for entrepreneurs, you know, very important to do the stuff and let it unfold as it needs to unfold.
Yes.
And we're attached to outcomes, and then it doesn't happen, and we end up being disappointed.
Yes.
And disappointment is all about attachment to outcomes, to how you think it should be, how other people should be.
Yes.
So best, and that comes back to being in the now. Take action. Let the outcome be what the outcome is. Don't get in life's way.
Absolutely. That one's always been a big one for me. I've found that when I've been too attached to the outcome, and then I don't manifest that outcome that I've dreamed up, then that disappointment can be crushing.
I always say to people when they're disappointed, I say, stop imprinting. Not so difficult. Not so difficult. You know, point others to love us the way we need them to love us, and point the world and the kind of pointing.
So I know that you're a shadow writer for other people. How does it feel to finally have your own book with your own name on it?
Look, I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm more proud than anything. It's done. You know, it's done. It's out there. It's a legacy. You know, it's a legacy thing. It's something that exists. I don't have kids, niece and nephew, and it'll sit on their bookshelves, and maybe their children will pick it up one day. And it's a legacy. It's a legacy thing for me. You know,
Yes.
that there's something that exists beyond me. And I think we all want to leave some kind of mark in the world, and people leave their marks in different ways.
Yes.
So we're not leaving kids behind, you know. So so you leave your book, and I leave my book, and we leave our stuff. So I'm very, very excited, and at the same time, and maybe this is one of my kind of, maybe I don't know if it's a fault, but it's like I'm very careful with my emotions. You know, it's one of the things in the book is you need to feel your feelings. And I'll tell you quite honestly, it's one of my. I'm not scared to be vulnerable here. It's one of my struggles. I had a therapist once who said to me that life doesn't just happen above your shoulders, Trevor. Like, get out your head. Yeah, so it's definitely it's something I'm working on. So I'm quite temperate with my emotions. So I'm very excited, and at the same time, it's a Corona time thing where it's so weird. There's no launch, there's no party. I haven't even printed hard copies in South Africa yet. I'm waiting, and I don't want to do that yet. So there isn't even like a hard thing there's not even a book that I can hold in my hand. It's a little bit weird. It's a little bit of the Corona time thing. And I don't know, maybe if I published it pre-Corona, I would have probably got it printed. It would have maybe gone, you know, it would have been a different process. I would have probably had some friends around, had a little thing, and then it would have shifted the energy of it. You know, but they say the Buddhists say before enlightenment you wood and carry water, and after enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. It feels a little bit like that. It's like before the book, you know, woke up, did my work, bought my work, you know, I'm excited, I'm proud, and at the same time, it's a little weird.
Yes.
Little Corona time weirdness.
I'm sure, because I know for me, the moment when I realized my book was real was when I held the first copies in my hand. In fact, when I opened the box and there was a whole stack that were all the same.
I was there.
I know. I've got pictures of it.
Wow. Okay.
And I remember that for me, because I'd received a pre-published copy from my publisher a month prior to that, so I'd actually seen it. But when they all came out of the box looking exactly the same, that was for me where it shifted, where they became real to me. So I think maybe for you, that's what needs to happen. You need to order yourself a hard copy as soon as you can.
Yeah.
And just hold it and smell it and sleep with it.
Yes. 100%. And I will. And that's part of trusting the process.
Yes.
Like just getting it sorted on Amazon and Kindle was enough of a mission. And thank you to Philippa Mitchell, another race edited the book for me and then helped me get it onto all the platforms. But that in itself was enough of a mission, and it's just like that's the first tick. Then the second tick is okay, now I'll get it printed hard copy, and I'll do that. That's part of trusting the process.
Yes.
I don't need everything to happen at once.
Yes.
And I need to time myself, and it's another thing that I do in Corona. That if you ask, another thing that I do at Corona time is I'm very easy on myself.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't put myself under too much pressure. I'm working really hard. Number one, thank God, because I have work, and second of all, I need to make money. But I don't burden myself with too much to do other than what I have to do. In other words, my work, the amount of work I have to do is plenty. And then separate to that is kind of do the book. I have like a lot of things to attend to. For example, I stagger them. I don't do more than one or two extraneous things a week, right? Because I think that there's enough pressure. Just being alive now is hard enough.
Yes.
No matter your situation, everybody's dealing with their own situation, and it's tough.
Yes.
We're all dealing with our own stuff. So I think we need to be easy on ourselves, opposed to beat ourselves up, not doing enough and do more and do more. And I just kind of slowly. Another friend of mine, another friend of ours, KK Diaz, who climbed Kili, he taught me the expression "pole." I think it's pole, something like that. I'm probably not getting the pronunciation. Pole, Pole, and it means slowly. Yeah. Slowly, we build our kingdoms, we build our mountains, we build our businesses, we build ourselves, but slowly. Don't put yourself under more pressure than you have to.
I think that's great advice right now, because our immune systems can't afford to be suppressed by being too stressed out at all.
100%.
We should be saving something. Yes.
I think it's always important to be stressed.
Now, for people who are watching who are interested in publishing their own books, what was the process kind of that you had to go through to get your book onto Amazon and Kindle? What were the challenges in that process that people need to be ready for?
So my secret, which I think is great advice, is to outsource.
Okay. Don't try to do it yourself.
No. Seriously, and that's part of the earlier philosophy of I know what I'm good at.
Yes.
I'm really good at writing. I'm really good at speaking to people. I'm really good at helping people. I know my strengths, and I'm not interested in IT stuff. Honestly, and I don't need to. Now, in fact, I tell the story in the book. I can't remember which lesson it is. I don't exactly remember which lesson it is, but when I was a teacher and I used to drive like I used to drive like skabonks, my teacher's salary. I was forever at the mechanic, and then they would like open the bonnet and try and explain to me, and I literally looked at the mechanic one day and I said to him, "Can you teach children to read?" I'll teach your child to read and you fix my car. I don't want to know how. I know that's probably not the answer you want to hear, but seriously, but it's part of the same thing. It's like you can't do everything.
Yes.
So do the things that you're good at. There are wonderful people who understand these processes, understand these things. I can tell you that. I mean, the process is that first of all you have to get it out, right? You have to create it, right? So don't take that part for granted, because step one is. When people hear that I'm a ghostwriter, almost like everybody's got a book. Oh my God, I've got a book. I've got a book. And I always say to them, send me something. That's great. Send me something. Yeah, nothing ever comes.
Yes.
Okay. In fact, Alon Reyes was the first person who ever sent me something. And I ended up writing both his books and working for him. And that was just because he sent me something. So if you want to get the book out, step one is to write the bloody thing. As absurd as that sounds, it's not at all. It's not absurd at all. It would be great. And for all entrepreneurs, that relates to whatever field you're in. Create something. Create the product. Yes. Everybody's got so many great things, ideas, and products in their head. Well, show me it. So step one is to actually just do the thing. Yes. The second thing is get yourself a good editor.
Okay.
Do not publish something that has not been edited by a really good editor, because you can't edit your own work.
Yes.
And your eye will not see the mistakes.
Yes.
You won't see it even in other people's work, but certainly won't see it in yours. So the second step is to get a really good editor. Needs to proofread and copy edit and tear it apart really, and fix your writing, because your ideas may be great, but your writing may not be. Step is to get a very, very, very good editor. Then it's a matter of getting it typeset and into design. And again, you work with somebody, and it's not a massively expensive undertaking. If you're not looking to publish some kind of high gloss coffee table kind of book, it's really not. It's not a hugely expensive undertaking. to
Okay.
get a good to get a typeset. There's lots of, and you can do it yourself again. You can do it yourself. You know, all kinds of make your own ebook, make your own ebook, make your own ebook. I don't know how many of us have got time to make our own ebooks. As easy as it may be, that it's easy to build a website. Thank you very much. I couldn't even begin to build. I tried. So a good designer who will put it into some kind of layout for you,
Yes.
and then the actual process, the actual putting it onto Kindle, Amazon is not so complicated. You have to open accounts. You literally open accounts with Amazon and Kindle, and a wonderful company program. I don't know what it's called, that I discovered in this process is called Ingram Spark or Spark Ingram. Spark Ingram. And basically what they do is your book sits with them in a ready to print format.
Okay.
And anybody can just order it through Amazon, and then they print it for you, and it gets delivered through Amazon.
Okay. So it's print on demand.
Yeah, it's print on demand.
That's wonderful.
Which is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, and I feel bad that I can't remember their name, so let me give them a punt. Give me a sec, yeah? Just to see that I get the name right. Spark called. 1 second. Probably not great for a podcast.
No, it's perfect. You're sharing great.
Yeah, it's called Ingram Spark.
Okay.
And Ingram Spark, you open accounts with Kindle, Amazon, one or two others. Ingram Spark charges $49 once off.
Wow.
And then
That's affordable.
Yeah, exactly. Your book lives with them. And there were quite a few technical glitches in just getting that sorted.
Okay.
But that's. I mean, you'd have the same glitches if you're there's always glitches just before.
Yes.
It's not so difficult. And now the book lives on Kindle, lives on Amazon, and you can order a Kindle version, or you can order a hard copy.
Okay.
And it gets shipped to you, which is absolutely amazing. Which is why I haven't had to worry about hard copy printing yet. And because I trust the process, I'm going to let it unfold and see where it goes and see where it lands. And I may, one or two of my readers may. The lovely thing about printing online is that if there are mistakes, if I have by accident put a photo into the book that I need that wasn't free and I thought it was free, you can correct much easier. You don't have to withdraw hard copies.
Yes.
So part of my trust in the process is just allowing the book to live in the world a little bit.
Yes.
And maybe I fix it, maybe I change some photos, and then I'll print.
Yes.
And because I trust the process, I'm not attached to the outcome. It's okay. It's all right. We'll let it unfold.
Well, I published with a publisher who took care of everything for me. And we printed thousands and thousands of hard copies. And my second book did not sell as fast as we were hoping it would. And then storage of those copies became an issue. And they actually had to destroy a portion of them at one stage because they were unable to store them any longer. So I really think that print on demand is actually a better way to go and more environmentally friendly, because then you only sell what's needed instead of having to warehouse a bunch of books that you may never sell.
Yes, exactly. And you'll never see your book on a bargain table at a bookshop.
Yes. Absolutely. You see, welcome to my world.
I wrote a teacher's guide. It's not actually correct that I've never had anything published in my name. I wrote non-fiction books for kids. But anyway, so that's the same. But anyway, I once saw a teacher's guide that I'd written on a 50% down on, and it was a humbling moment.
It is.
Like marked down. Who wants to be marked down?
I love that.
It's fine. Let it live in cyberspace, and it never has to be sold at half. Whatever. You can sell half. It does get marked down, but it's not the same as seeing your book at a school fete or something.
Yes.
God, somebody didn't want to keep that on their bookshelf.
So,
Yeah,
Trevor,
it's all good. Humor is another important way, my darling. Humor.
yes,
Humor.
absolutely,
Yeah, find the funny, hey, find the funny.
absolutely.
Yeah, you have to find the funny, especially now, wherever
Okay,
you can.
yes.
Yes,
So,
yes.
so for people watching,
Mm-hmm.
we've heard a lot about your book. How do you make your money?
Okay, so I make my money in a few ways. I'm a quintessentially self-employed person. I have no grand. I don't want to say I have no grand designs of a big business. There's all kinds of there's dreams, but I'm quintessentially self-employed, and I have no. I'm not building right. Well, right now I'm not building a business. I have a couple of skills, and people are willing to pay for those skills. And while people are willing to pay for those skills, I'm very, very happy to do those things. I know that one of the questions that entrepreneurs always ask is the question of focus. And the one argument is that you have to have still focus on one thing, do that and build that, and that's great for certain entrepreneurs. And then for other entrepreneurs, it'll destroy you. The kind of the single-minded focus will destroy you, and that's lowering you. But for me, that's lowering one bucket in one pool. And some people are lucky enough to be able to do that. And I'm not, and I don't need to right now, and I haven't needed to. So that's the long answer. The short answer is I do two big things. The one is I'm a writer, obviously. So I have a lot. So my and I've done this. I mean, for the last 4 years, I've been working for myself, and it's ebbed and flowed. So some years I do more coaching, some years I do more therapy, some years I do more workshops, some years I do more writing, literally. So at Corona time, my big source of income is writing. I do textbooks, teacher guides, training material, ghostwriting, anything that needs to be written. I can do, and I've been blessed during Corona time. And I think it may be a function of Corona time is that the world that more and more stuff has to be written.
Yes.
Just that the whole online world requires writing, and stuff needs to be written. So the main source of my income right now is writing projects. I'm involved in some amazing writing projects, ghostwriting and educational material development. That's the one way that I make my money. The other way that I make my money is I'm a logo therapist, which probably requires a whole nother podcast. But essentially, I follow Viktor Frankl's philosophy. He wrote Man's Search for Meaning and created a philosophy called logotherapy. Logos means meaning in Greek.
Okay.
And essentially, the philosophy is that man is a meaning-making machine. We make meaning. I help people to make meaning of their lives, make meaning of their situations. So I'm a logotherapist, and I practice as a logotherapist. And that's the second way I make money. And the third way I make money is I use logotherapy to coach.
Okay.
So I coach entrepreneurs, I coach business people, executives, and individuals. And it's a combination of logotherapy and coaching. I don't see myself as a psychologist per se. I don't really want to. But I certainly am able to work with people and help them to their thinking, to order their thinking, and to order their emotions. It's not just about thinking. Those are my three sources of income: writing, therapy, and coaching.
Okay. And if anybody would like to connect with you for any of those services, where can they get hold of you?
Best is email. Well, first of all, I've got a website. Yay, thanks to Corona. I've got a website. My website is no, it's a big thing, people. I mean, it's a big thing for us, little people too. And a little bit less little entrepreneurs. It's a big thing to get a website together.
Yes.
You've got to have stuff on there. So I'm proud of the fact that I have a website. I think we take it for granted, because there's so many websites. But every single one of those websites has to be created by someone, and that takes work.
Yes.
And commitment. So there's a website. It's obviously www, and then it's TSW, Trevor Sean Waller, tswconsulting.co.za.
Okay.
Until we may rebrand. Sky's the limit, and then my email is trevor@tswconsulting. .co.za.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Way to get hold of me. Facebook, LinkedIn. Those are my 2 social media places.
Okay, okay, that's
Um,
awesome. Thank you so much. That
Thank
was
you. So,
an amazing interview. Thank you
no,
for
thank you.
co-creating great content with me today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this. And it's a great initiative. And I'm very, and it's just you lowering your bucket, and it's amazing. I mean, we've worked. I mean, you've really walked the entrepreneurial path. If I can make it about you for a second, because maybe your audience doesn't know maybe your audience doesn't know, like what a like, you know, there's some people are like entrepreneurial in their bones and in their blood and in their spirit, and you're a quintessential entrepreneur.
Thank
You know?
you. Thank you.
And you've never given up, which is huge.
I've given up thousands of times in the dark of night when nobody's around.
Then I promise you there's not a person watching that hasn't. But the fact of the matter is you're sitting here and you're still entrepreneurial. And it's the best time, you know, because the reality is, Mel, if you had given up, if either of us had given up, we'd right now be unemployed.
Yes.
Or employed and worried.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So kudos to the self-employed.
Thank you. Thank you.
And well done for staying, for getting there.
Thank you.
And it's such amazing synchronicity, because I kind of forgot the moment of your book, when your book came out. So how the universe conspired, literally, because we didn't arrange this, and it's important to know that, hey, like we didn't arrange this for this interview to happen on the day the book was going to come out, because I trusted the process on the book coming out.
Yes.
You know, and then the fact that the person that I'm having like my first 15 minutes of fame with, is a person like who's opened the box of her books, and I happened to be standing there.
Yes.
You know, I happened to be in reception. It's just crazy. It's insane.
Yes.
So it's beautiful synchronicity, and just to kind of full circle, testimony to trust the process.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. There's a much bigger picture here.
Yeah. Yeah.
For all of us.
Yeah. I've got goosebumps that I've been able to be here for you at this time. It's
amazing. Thank you. I'm also goosebumping. Yeah, amazing. Thank you.
Have a beautiful day.
Thank you, my darling. Okay. Bye.